Welcome to Different Thought. We're 10 toes in the water and my head in the clouds. Sometimes it hits you right out of nowhere.
Nice. I like it. I like it.
See what I did there?
I like it. Yeah.
Justin's lost.
Of course, yeah. I'm gonna look like I know, but yeah.
Hey, I like it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
like
yeah.
it.
No, but
I
I feel
like
like I'm not. Anyway, yeah. Whatever, man.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Different Thought, where we examine the culture. I am your host, Mike Hayes, and this is my co-host,
Wayne.
All right, Wayne. Okay. I don't know where this one's going, but okay. All right, Wayne. All right, so today we have a special guest with us, humanitarian Chattanooga native, humanitarian with the Humans Outdoors. Just was selected as the top 20 under 40 in Chattanooga, mental health advocate, songwriter, singer extraordinaire, Mr. Klark Kint.
Wow. That's a dope intro, man. I'm humbled by that intro. I am.
All right, well, Mr. Klark, how are you today, sir?
Hey, man. You want my honest answer or you want my...
Hey, man, we keep it real on Different Thought.
Yeah.
I'm so hungry. I haven't... You know what's funny? I ate a little this morning, but I'm definitely hungry. And I'm going to be honest with y'all. I've been thinking about some wings in the past 10 minutes. Yeah. Some wings sound real good. Just don't know which if I want them smoked or deep fried right now. Or
I mean, I
I'm just
always,
being
I
real
always,
with
I
y'all.
always go with smoke. I'm a smoke wing guy. I don't like deep fried.
It'd be a good day for some Parkway drywall wings.
Whoa. That's my spot, bro. That's my spot.
It's his
The
too.
Tennessee game it starts
That's
at
my
8.
spot,
So you know.
bro. Yeah. Partway my joint for real. that pudding with the ice cream on it.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Slaps.
I don't think I've had this pudding with ice cream.
Crazy.
No, it's pudding.
It's like a bread.
It's a bread, the gluten-free bread pudding. I
Yeah,
think.
banana bread with like homemade ice cream on it.
Yeah.
Gluten free.
It's like
Yes,
like
bro.
Yeah.
Listen.
It's good. It actually is good.
Homemade ice cream.
Yeah.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. Anyway, that was my honest answer. But other than that, man, I'm excited to be back with y'all, man. Y'all.
We decided to have you back again, sir.
Yeah, man. A lot of people aren't genuine. A lot of people don't spin the block. I appreciate y'all spinning the block like that.
Don't spin the block.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all.
I thought there were
spinning the
rules
block.
against not spinning the block.
It is when it comes to certain things, for
right?
sure.
Yeah.
All right, man. So we're going to keep it moving. So as usual, Clark, you've been on the show before. So we do this thing called Take a Shot for You. So Take a Shot for You is basically shouting out somebody or an event or something that has either, something to celebrate or something like, hey, man, this is so stupid. It has me drinking again. So we'll start with Wayne, man. What's your shot for?
Man. Gotta take a shot for Black History Month, man. You know, I mean, we gotta celebrate. We celebrate St. Patty's Day. We celebrate Cinco de Mayo, but we ain't out here celebrating Black History Month. And it went from a week to a whole month. So, root to the bros for that. So we gotta celebrate it. We gotta celebrate this.
I want to throw my phone at you. We made it to 4 episodes. We got to the 5th episode, and we finally gonna say root to the bros.
I'm just saying.
Oh
man.
my gosh.
Look, know your history. Look it up. Anyway, happy Black History Month, everybody.
Oh my gosh, bro. All right, man. All right, Clark, what you taking a shot for? Oh, wait, what you drinking?
Oh yeah, monkey shoulder. Monkey
Alright.
shoulder scotch, and it's delicious.
Okay, Clark.
What I'm taking a shot for? I'm gonna take a shot. Well, I kind of did a little before I got on here, but I'm gonna say for my Lakers, man. It's an up and down road.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
It's a stressful road being the Lakers fan, man.
It's actually pronounced the Lackers.
I've never heard of that one. The Lakers, man, it's like It seems like
Right
when I
in the throat.
don't watch the game, we win.
We win. Yeah, I stopped
And
watching.
when I watch the game, I'm furious, upset.
I stopped watching, bro.
So I would say for the Lakers, man.
I stopped watching. I stopped watching for that reason alone.
Yeah,
Because
bro.
when I watch, I'm like, mother,
Bro,
shoot the ball.
going crazy.
He passed. It's 3 men
swear.
on him.
I swear.
Shoot. You're wide
I
open.
swear, bro.
Yeah, they struggle.
They look nice. They look better.
I just
right
want us
now.
to get rid of Anthony Davis.
They look
Quiet
better.
as kept.
They look
Quiet
better
as
right
kept.
now.
I love Anthony, but he can't stay healthy. You breathe.
He's been healthy
now,
He been
more
hanging
than
on.
he has been lately.
which scares me, which means that in the postseason, he gonna have a hangnail or something.
I mean, they might have got him some new trainers or something, man.
Whatever. All right, so my shot, man, I got a multiple shot. So, first of all, shout out to my dad. February 2nd was his birthday. I didn't shout him out in February, so I want to make sure I do that. March is my mom's birthday, March 11th. So, shout out to my mother. And then I want to shout out my homeboy. I meant to put a post on Super Bowl Sunday because I didn't have a dog in the race, so I decided to put my dog in the race. W Clothing or Design. Peyton, man, shout out to Peyton. He's been doing his thing. He's been kind of highlighted on some other influencers shows and things of that nature. I decided to wear his jersey today. Shout out Peyton, man. Go check him out. W on Instagram. Go check him out, and hopefully we can get Cal to put his Instagram handle right here, right
Ding ding ding.
here.
Okay.
And we'll shout him out. All right, so usually we would do this what we call straight like that, but we're gonna do something a little different this time. So there's this phenomenon that's been going around that kind of just went viral. It's who the F did I marry with this young lady. Basically, as we were trying to tell y'all before the show, she has this. I think it's like 53 parts. It's like 5 hours worth of content.
Wow.
And she basically breaks down all the lies that were told by her now ex-husband. So she originally oh, by the way, backtrack. I'm double fisting today. Sorry, Mom. I know it's your birthday and all, but I'm double fisting for you, Mom.
And my dad's birthday was last week too, so
Yeah.
shout out to him.
Yeah.
My mom's
and my
was
Uncle
February
Clark.
5th, so yeah.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. I was
Okay.
like February 2nd. Oh yeah, my mom was.
Yeah.
So yeah, so I'm double. I got a whiskey sour with I forget what it's called. Nikki Coffee Whiskey, I believe. Just straight up decided I try it out. So
I think it's Nika.
Nika.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nikka. Hey.
A.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought it was Nikki, but you're right. Maybe it is Nika.
It might be. Be careful how you say
I
it.
know. I was about to say it's kind of.
Slow down.
Slow down, mate. You're killing them. But anyways, so in the I guess in the presence are in the what's the word I'm looking for? Basically, for this who the F that I married, I figured we'd have a little discussion around that just as an icebreaker, like
Yeah. I mean,
Thought-
we did just make it through the month of love, right?
yeah.
So,
So what's y'all thoughts on this, man? Just folks out here just lying, just to basically, for those who don't know, this young lady basically during the COVID year, she met some guy. This guy told her he played in the Arena Football League, and then he told her that he was a VP of a condiment company, but staying in a studio apartment. Decided to come live with her. Was paying her bills. Then decided to put a bid on a $700,000 house, $700,000 house, cash. By the way.
okay, I mean, so that shows baller type tendency.
But then when when it started to get real, all of a sudden things fell through with the negotiation of getting the house or whatever. Then she had a miscarriage.
Oh,
Apparently she was struggling with the whole having sex before marriage. Then got pregnant. Then had a miscarriage. And back in the COVID days, you couldn't go to the hospital with
Right.
with the person.
Mm-hmm.
So they called him. This man acted like he was his own assistant and was like, "Oh, he's in a board meeting right now. He'll be there in 30 minutes."
How did they know?
She
he
sat in the
acted-
hospital for like.
How did they know he acted like his own assistant?
They found out.
They found out afterwards.
Okay.
And then like, every morning he would get up and act like he was talking to his family, was not talking to anybody.
Wow.
So what y'all think about that?
Huh.
What y'all thoughts?
Huh.
That's a lot to take. I'm processing.
So that's like, what is it? Sociopathic behavior, right? From a psychological standpoint. And I actually had a homegirl who dealt with something similar to that. In the last couple of years, she met this dude. Basically, like, he told her that she was the one, and their relationship was great. The love life was good and all this type of stuff. And then all of a sudden, like, after a while, she started noticing some discrepancies in terms of communication, gaps in time, and all that stuff. Turns out this dude was still like in a whole marriage, kids and all of this type of stuff. And I'm like, how did you not notice, like, when he had to spend time with his family? Apparently he was just like lying to the wife and all this stuff, and like they were separated but together, and it's crazy. So apparently people are capable of that. I'm not good at that. My spirit doesn't sit right when I gotta try to lie to somebody. Like, I just can't do it. Like, it make my chest hurt too much. I don't understand how people do that, John. Like, I can't get it.
Clark?
That's definitely a full-time job to, like he
Yeah,
just said, to do that, because we've all been young. I've definitely done my things.
Right.
I've definitely have healed from some things, but in my, I guess you could say, in my dark days of doing things, I never could keep up with that much of a lie and lifestyle and have this and say I have that. And we've all done our little things, but that's a full-time job to be able to do that, man.
You gotta keep a journal to manage that job.
Yeah, like he said, it's something mental,
Yeah.
psychological to be able to do it in a good way, to be able to continue to do that.
Yeah.
That good. Like, you have to be a different type of
You're
person.
a different type of person, man. Like,
Yeah.
it's sociopathy, narcissism, all that type of stuff at all. I'm pretty sure I messed up. So I don't think it's sociopathy, but yeah, y'all figure it out.
That's crazy, me. For me, it's I went through so working with Kyle on getting this show together. He brought it up to me, and when I first watched the first episode of her mini episodes, I was like, I'm just gonna be honest. I mean, I know Kyle gonna be like, Mike, you can't say that, but I was like, girl, you ugly. Like, just be grateful.
Dang. Why you gonna talk about this woman like that?
Just be grateful. Hold on, I'm gonna clean it up.
I don't know, man. You just said it. You said she looked bad, so she deserved it. Basically, that's what you just said.
No, it was one of those like, hey man, he was paying your bills. He was taking care of you, like, you stupid. But then when she was just like, I take full responsibility, I was desperate. I was like, dang, man.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, well. But then the other part of me is just like, we've come into a society where we all worry about clout chasing and, oh, he's got to do X, Y, and Z, or she's got to be X, Y, and Z, instead of just enjoying the journey, man. Because nowadays we got to a point where dudes and girls have to lie. We got to get girls get BBLs, or wear Spanx, or basically suffocate themselves to go out on a date, and then you get them behind closed doors, and it's like, well, what the hell happened to that that hourglass figure?
Nah, man.
So you know what I'm saying?
I already know it's fake. Look, I be looking for the signs ahead of time. I be like,
I'm 20 years removed, so I don't even know what to look for.
I see it. I don't even mess with the ones I can tell that's buttoned up, that's cinched up. Like, I be like, look, nah,
so
that ain't for me.
So yeah, that's kind of where I was at. Like, man, it's just like we live in a society now where it's just like we gotta show off.
It's true though.
We gotta show off, and it's just like, man, why can't we just be comfortable with being who we are, and then accepting that and moving on? But now we've gotten to the point where we're so saturated with the BBLs and the thickums out there.
Yeah, everybody trying to be a celebrity.
And everybody want to be a celebrity. Everybody want to be seen. And now you got people out here making up these lies that this dude was telling. I was like, good Lord. Lord have mercy.
Yeah, dude be telling some tall tales now.
But the thing is like, if you came and told me you were a VP of a major company, what's the first thing I'm gonna do? I'm gonna Google
Go
you.
look at it.
I'm gonna go
You
Google
should. You should.
But I'm like,
Right.
why? So
There's something. But like you said, she's desperate.
then she said what was it? The ARP, the APR that was the reason why he couldn't. The first loan didn't go through or something when he bought the house.
Uh-huh.
I'm like, for real, man. For real.
Yeah, so she just desperate in a different kind of way, to where she just I think what you said earlier, I think flew, is that you said just be happy with what you got.
Yeah.
I think she was. At the end of the day, she was, and that's why she accepted all of the stuff. Like she probably knew in the back of her mind, something don't add up. But
so Wayne, you about to make me tell myself. So
Okay.
what I meant by that was be happy with what you got was when somebody says, if somebody is hollering at you, right, and they say I'm a VP. She said he was a VP of a condiment company. So let's say, for instance,
so kind of like catch up.
Haynes or not Haynes, Heinz,
Hunts,
or whatever.
Yeah.
If somebody says that, bro,
That's huge.
Yes.
That
First thing I'm gonna do is go Google it.
That is a big.
But then you know what else I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go look in the mirror. Am I VP of Heinz material?
Look, man.
If I'm not, then I need to start looking like, okay,
Look,
wait a
man.
minute.
See, all these people don't watch Disney movies, and they saw what happened to Cinderella, man.
Cinderella was cute though, Justin.
She was.
Wayne.
But the sisters were trying to holler too.
Yeah.
All of them was trying to shoot their shot. Okay?
I mean, you are so correct. Sir.
They've been programmed.
You right.
Disney been programming kids to think certain ways about how to get
shoot
a man
for the moon.
and shoot. When it don't always add up, So
Some of y'all,
Anyway.
I'm gonna say this real. I'm gonna say it to the camera. Some of y'all need to be honest with yourselves. Look in the mirror. Am I this caliber? If you not, just be real with yourself.
Hey.
You know what? I may not
Mike
be
going
this.
full Kevin Samuels on
I
me.
mean,
I said, Kevin.
it's a true statement though, bro.
Golly.
It's a true statement, bro. It's like, hey, I don't. It's great. Some people have fetishes. But a man of that caliber or a woman of that caliber
You can get.
ain't going for no basic.
You probably wouldn't, 'cause
Ain't going for no basic.
Your access is.
And if they
high.
going for a basic, they got a stable on the side.
Yeah, it's gotta be something special. It's gotta be something special about it.
Anyways,
That's crazy.
so with that, it gotta be the thinking, man. So with you, Clark, with your creative aspect, well, how would you like formulate a song? What would be your process to formulate a song around a situation like that?
So the way I think about it, it's funny. So I'm looking at her as a client right now, and she's coming to me and saying, Clark, I'm going to work on the album. I've been cheated on. I've been lied to, and I want to let the world know this is what happened to me. So it will probably be very authentic and genuine with her situation. And with me not knowing the whole situation, I would be like, hey, what's the worst thing he did? So first line or a hook will probably be around, I thought that he was done and done. Then I found out he's done.
What's that? It's got
you know what I'm saying? It'll be kind of more depending on her genre. Whether she wants R&B, whether she wants soul, whether she want a little country. I've written a lot of different things, and I would probably start it with, I thought that he was. And that might be the title of the song. Now that I think about it, I thought that he was. It would be funny, but I thought that he was. And then just go into what I thought he was in the first line, man. Second line, and then go into the bridge of this is why he got me effed up. And then the hook would just be, I ain't going back to that shit.
So
And then the second verse would be, this is why y'all shouldn't fool with him.
Oh man.
I'm leaving him be. I'm leaving him for the streets. But if I was y'all, I wouldn't even fool with him. That would be the second half
And
of
it
the
turns
song.
out, homeboy had like a. Well, I don't know how true it is, but he had a twin brother that actually
Oh my
was
God. This
all.
gets more and more
so he was just trying to be his brother
Bro,
then.
I don't know how true that is.
Oh,
wow.
But I saw something
So
else.
he had-
I think it was
he
on
had-
Kev
childhood
on stage,
issues, all kind of stuff.
and they were saying like he had a twin
is
brother.
funny.
He had a twin brother that actually had the cause man, the lies were just ridiculous, bruh. He was like, "Oh, the company gonna give me a company car. I'm gonna go test drive it on Mercedes. I just need to get the." I was like, "That's not how company cars works, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just give it to you. And it's like, here go your car. You don't get to pick. Like, what company you working for?
Yeah.
I mean, but if you're working for Heinz or a Hunt or a condiment company, I guess you should be able to pull up to the lot and be like,
Or maybe they gave him a budget or something like that.
yeah,
Of what he
got
could
some- he got
spend.
some- he
It
got some-
didn't make sense.
He
What
got
he could
company
spend
car
and
per
It didn't
diem.
make sense, Wayne.
He got company
Wayne.
car per diem, man.
Wayne.
He got an allowance.
Wayne. This man was just like, I just need to figure out how the wire transfer works. Nah, bro. It's if you gonna go, if they're like, hey, we're gonna give you a company. I could see them being like, we're gonna give you a company car.
So he had to get the money wired to
Yes.
get his own company
Yes.
car. Yeah.
Yeah, nah.
Nah, you can't.
Because
Nah.
usually it'd be like, oh, okay, here's the dealerships you can go to.
Yeah.
Pick out you a car.
Pull up, pull
tell them the
up.
car you want.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
take care of the rest.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how it should
But
work.
this man was just like, yeah, I gotta see. I'm gonna go over here and see how the wire.
So he like, let me check my regions real quick.
Turns out
That's
the
what he
brother
did.
was a forklift driver.
Really?
Okay. So this is like a whole Tyler Perry movie then.
Man,
Yeah.
what?
That's basically what this is. This is a Tyler Perry movie.
All right, man. Hey, so let's keep this thing moving. That was a good icebreaker. But
Yeah.
anyways, man. So Clark, man, tell us about some of the things you got coming up, man. I know we've talked off air, but I know you were talking about CT, who was a guest on the show back. Was that season 2? Season 2 or 3?
Mm-hmm.
So your involvement with that project, you want to give us a little bit more insight on that? Or?
Yeah, I he asked me to lend my ear and my pen for that Prince of the City project, and me just loving to come up with melodies. He talked about it on I think one of his videos that he posted, but he worked with a lot of producers and songwriters, and I was just, I'm always in the space to want to write for someone. I love telling stories.
Okay.
I love telling someone else's story. So yeah, we collabed on some melodies and collabed on some writing on that project. And he, wrote. I didn't have to write the whole thing because he's a songwriter himself. So yeah, definitely.
So does it usually most artists reach out to you? Do you make treatments for artists and say, hey, I think this would be good for you? How does that process work for you?
It's been mainly someone asking me, hey, Clark, my cousin, my brother, I got an artist that needs some good writing. And I need a good story. I'm kind of more storyteller writer.
Okay.
And they will contact me or someone that knows me and say, hey, we need a club banger, or we need a confessions, or we need like the young lady we just talked about. Somebody did me wrong, and I need to tell somebody about it.
It's funny,
it's a lot
but
of that.
that's usually how these big hits get made.
It
Like
is.
when you think about confessions,
Yeah, you guys gotta come from your soul, man.
Yeah,
It's gotta come from
yeah.
inside. You can't.
there be
make
some
that
crazy situations. Because I mean, honestly, dog, when you really think about like for instance, confessions. I mean, this man cheated on his girlfriend and got his side chick pregnant. Like that.
up. Look, man.
That's a. Woo.
And then they said the
That album
story
changed my whole
was
high school.
Jermaine Dupri's.
Yeah, it was.
And a little of
uh,
and Usher's recent interview I just saw, and knowing people that was around that space, it was part of Jonte's story, all of the stories.
They said it was a group.
Yeah, it was a group.
You
thing.
talking about Club Shay?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
he said it was like everybody had a little
Usher
bit.
and Friends. He got a new show that just came out the other day called Usher and Friends, and he had a lot of them on there as well. But like you said, even the Shay Shay thing, it was a group. All of them, it would be like all of us telling our stories of how we got cheated on or we did some things. Mm-hmm. So yeah.
So all right, got the CT project. I think that came out last year, right?
Yes,
it's about to come out.
It came out last year.
Okay, so it came out
maybe
last
a year and some change.
So now, you got the hat on. So now you into
the hat on.
you into country. And for those of you who don't know,
I love it.
The opening line was a quote from a song that Brother Clark let me and Kyle listen to the other night, called "Out of Nowhere." Really dope song, man. I ain't even gonna lie. Like I said,
thank you, bro. That means a lot coming from you because I know y'all are real music heads. So I take it,
And I'll say this: when you first told me I'm doing country, I was like, okay, all right. Go here with an open mind.
I love it. Yeah.
And I was like, how because I know you from the Glimmerlock days.
For sure.
I know you just the creative you are in being so heavily into R&B and hip hop. And so when you were like country, I was like, all right, like what? And then
what are you doing now?
Yeah. And then when I heard it, I was like, oh, okay. I actually, this is spot on. And even me and Cal were just like, at first we were like, this don't sound like you.
Yeah.
Oh, but there's Clark. I can hear that. So let's talk about the process from getting from R&B, hip hop to country, because I think that I think a lot of people out there would think that that's a huge reach or huge jump. Yeah. But then when you really think of it in the scheme of things, and you think about like the history of music in general, and especially country music. I mean, country music is a direct descendant of African culture with the banjo. We were playing the banjo. Then they had minstrel shows, and black folks didn't want them to do it because minstrel shows they were making fun of us. So we bagged out, and now you're starting to see this new movement going back towards country music. So explain like the whole process of going from hip hop R&B to country music, and where how it ties into your life and all that good stuff.
First of all, I want to say that I appreciate the fact that you guys liked the project, the song, and I expected you guys to tell me, oh no, and I don't think that's you, or this don't sound good. I definitely don't think y'all a bunch of yes men.
The show is Different Thoughts, sir.
Yeah, and I appreciate that so much because I saw that you genuinely, thought that it might sound like something. So I appreciate that. Mm-hmm. And to answer your question, I think the root of it is me realizing where I am spiritually, mentally, and out of nowhere, honestly, I was just moving, going after COVID, stuff happening. As you said, I've done programming with kids, with Humans Outdoors, and et cetera, et cetera. So a lot of things happened financially after COVID with small businesses, nonprofits. A lot of people, even with degrees, had to go get jobs. I was one of those people that had to go work somewhere because I had to take care of my family. Mm. So after doing this work for 7-8 years and branching off into doing my own, because I co-founded a program, as we talked about last time, realizing that coming right off the COVID, you're not finna go right into like full year funding. Mm. You know what I'm saying? You finna have to go get it out the mud again and realize that you got to take care of the family and pay some bills. So I feel like I've been getting hazed with life for the past.
Life hazing.
Life,
you see what I'm
life
saying?
been lifing.
I feel like that's exactly what it is. Life has definitely been lifing, but the beauty in that is I found my inspiration again to do music, and I found myself getting back to my roots. And getting back to the roots was realizing where we came from. Not only do I do things in nature, even the music side, I had everybody say, how can you bring music to the kids? How can you bring to the program? How can you bring to the woods? You outdoors, you da-da-da. I feel like where I am musically now feels better acoustically, banjo-wise, drum-wise, nature-wise, to tap into blues, southern, and then I guess you could say country. I have a hard time saying country.
I was gonna talk about that. But
Yeah,
you gonna beat me to it.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna wait on that. But I feel like it just came from a higher power, God.
Yeah, and so I'm glad you it's a good segue into, because when we were listening to it, I was reading through the lyrics, and it sounds so. And let me stop there. Just want to put out there, this is not like a fad country record. Like it's not.
Thank you.
It's a little bit of hip hop and R&B, and it just happens to be over a country beat.
Thank you.
This is authentic country music,
Thank you.
my opinion. I don't know if Cal agrees or not, but to me, like when you told me this, I was like, he probably still gonna have a hip hop cadence and still kind of either rap or still give that R&B vibe to it. No, this was very true to the art form of country music.
Thank you.
Which was refreshing, because a lot of times people try to fit into a fad or fit into something else, trying to just be different. Whereas this felt like this genuinely came from a genuine place. And your lyrics, you talk about it. I mentioned it. The 10 toes in the water, head in the clouds, and off air we've talked about this, but kind of talk about that. Like you were talking about that this was like you were talking about your baptism, your second baptism.
Yeah.
So give us more about that.
So when you guys heard it at the studio, I was just so excited, and a lot of people hear it that I've let hear it, and then they don't realize me saying 10 toes in the water and my head's in the cloud. Sometimes you realize it out of nowhere. It's basically me talking about rededicating my life to God. And I feel like I had to get my pillars lined up in this past 2 years more than ever. And talking in the first verse, I've been on the fence too long, fighting demons. I think when you get information and you learn from people, and not to go too deep into it, I talk to my pastor about this all the time, being church hurt. Yeah. A lot of people are church hurt. Yeah. Now, a lot of people don't go to church, and then a lot of people they might not believe in the same faith and et cetera, et cetera. But a lot of people honestly are just church hurt. I realized I was just church hurt. So once I visited and found the right congregation, God was like, you don't have an excuse now. Yeah. You can't say the church you used to go to when you was young where the preacher stole the money and he was sleeping with sister so-and-so. He was da-da-da-da-da. I mean, not da-da-da like people don't have trauma in that area, but I have my own in those areas. But this particular time was like, you're actually hearing the word of God. And you're actually learning about God more. I don't think I grew up in church. Mom was choir director. I became choir director at 17, 18. Was in church forever and didn't know who God was. Got married to a deacon's daughter, didn't know who God was. This last 3 years, God had to take me, like my granny always say, it sounds old school, but God actually literally took me to the woodshed. And I was like, wow, I've been on the fence too long about this. So that part was about, and the funny part about it, I didn't plan to say that in this song. It came.
Well, and that's the thing. Like, when we were talking, a lot of this sounded as if it all started that way. Because you were telling me how y'all kind of just went in the studio and just playing around, and then one song led to the next and the next and the next. So like that to me, for me, having the musical background that I have and being around, musicians and artists, like that's when the best work is made. Is when they just go in there. It's like, let's try something, and then it's like, oh, let's try it again. Let's try it again. So
I started
expound on it. Like
I was in my truck, my work truck, my Chevy, the old school Tahoe.
It sounds like a country song. That's sorry.
I was in my truck in the Chevy Z71, and I was doing this. I was just in there, and then I said, on the below, and I was just, and I was like, you know what? This sounds like a dope melody. I hit Trey up at Whaley. Shout out to Whaley and Wayne over there, man. They doing their thing. I said, Trey, I think I have my first Southern country song. He said, all right, let's go to the studio. Went to the studio. I showed him. I recorded myself because, as you know, like you guys do this, when you come up with something, you just record it on the phone.
Yep.
Or I would send it. I used to send it to my homie Jabo. Jabo has so many messages from me. My woman definitely has it now. I'm sending audios of me just singing randomly. So I'm like, don't pay this text no mind. I'm just singing. I'm writing. And then we went to the studio, did the melody. I got a video of it. I'm definitely going to show it. And then how I start my songs is doing the melody. That was the melody. And then that morphed into the lyrics side of it. I didn't have the lyrics. I had below, out of nowhere. When you have the word in the midst of the mumbling, that's the song. You know what I'm saying? So I was trying to, and I wanted to do that in the hook because that's really the catchy part. I said, no, I got to do this in the verse. So after every line, it was out of nowhere. Then at that point, you got to figure out, okay, this hook has to be better than that right there. So that's kind of how that came to life right there.
That's what's up, man. Like, I find it very refreshing because you don't run into a lot of nowadays. We were talking about the who the F did I marry, and a lot of days, and I made the comment about we are so engulfed in clout chasing, and in the music today, everybody knows I'm a hip hop fan, and with this whole discussion about Killer Mike winning the Grammy, everybody's like Metro Boomin, heroes and villains, and I'm like, no, that shouldn't have won hip hop album of the year because it wasn't a hip hop album. It was a collective album. It was R&B and hip hop. Whereas Killer Mike told a story and it was truly authentic to Killer Mike. It wasn't authentic to anyone else but Killer Mike because
his story. He
had a very, he went through, drug dealing but went to Morehouse. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's very different. And dibbling dabbling in those two different worlds.
I think we do.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we find ourselves trying to fit in instead of just, hey man, I'm okay with just being whatever moves me at that moment is going to motivate the masses. So
for sure,
I've always dig that, especially when you were with Glamour. Like I dig that too. Was you guys were authentically like, hey, we're not trying to fit a mold. We just want to be who we are. So,
for sure.
There was a question in there, but I can't remember it now.
Thank you for that.
But I mean, you talked about the process and and going through that. And I think one thing that you just said that kind of spoke to me was, you send audio to, people that are close to you. And, I like to write. That's a quiet secret about me. I write all the time. R&B songs, poems.
Might be over here writing sonnets.
Songs, poems, everything. And I guess for me, this is just more of a personal question, is like, how do you become comfortable with sending it? Like, how do you establish that relationship where you're comfortable enough to send? Because like Erykah Badu, I'm an artist. I'm sensitive about my shit. Sorry, mama, but it's the truth. Like, so how do you get comfortable with sending it to, or how did you establish those relationships to where you're comfortable enough?
That's a good question.
To say like, hey, I want you to hear this.
Yeah.
And then like you said, hey, it's not a full thing.
Oh
I'm just
God,
sending
that's
this
the
to you. I'm just sending this to you just so you.
That's vulnerable.
And being very vulnerable.
Yeah.
So explain that process, like finding people that you feel like you can be vulnerable with, because you talked about also how in our earlier conversation off air, you talked about how like a lot of this was you going through your divorce.
Yes.
And getting through that. So how do you then become comfortable? Because you said you sent it to your girlfriend, your lady, and sending those things, and you're talking about a past relationship with this person. So how did you get to that moment of like what gets you to that point where you feel comfortable with sharing with? And then I forget the gentleman's name that you said.
Jabo.
Jabo. How did you get comfortable with Jabo, and how did you get comfortable with your lady?
Jabo honestly was like my little brother. Like we did everything, went places together. So musically, friendship wise, out of music, he knew and knows kind of everything about me, like a best friend type of situation. So I knew I could send him something that's not fixed all the way. And then, like I said, that morphed into me being able to send my girlfriend now, hey, this is something I'm working on, and accepting that there's criticism if it needs to be, but they didn't even send like, this don't sound good, they know I'm cooking. That's basically me cooking.
So did you explain that process to them? Like, hey, usually I send this to someone. I want you to just hear me out, and it's not a finished project. Or did they just get you enough to say, I'm not going to comment until you start to really formulate it?
It was. I think it was before I started realizing that, of course you can download apps and where you can download the microphone and then you can record in the studio on your phone. My son does that too because he's doing music. But, it felt easier with someone that I know that I always talk to, and I'm in the thread already, and I'm like, boom, and I know it's safe. Instead of going to the app, going in the app, record, because sometimes it just happens while you're driving,
right,
or you in the shower. So I don't think we necessarily had a conversation about it, but I think if anything, I told them, and I think I've sent a couple to my son maybe. Don't pay attention to this. This is I need this.
You keep saying that. Why you keep telling them don't pay attention to it when you send it to them?
Because I'm usually in conversation or talking to them about life, or like my son is in school, or my son, you know what I'm saying, or Jabo doing some real stuff. And this is not what I mean by don't pay attention is this isn't something we're talking about or we were just talking about. This is me trying to get this off to just so y'all can just have this. So don't pay attention to this next message. Because this is me just, which is kind of production. So this is me just freestyling melodies. Yeah. So that's what I mean by that. That's a good question.
I want to expound on it a little bit because I'm like, okay, because I've done that too, but I don't send it. I'll just record myself on the phone and listen to it over and over again.
I've done that too.
So why is it important for you to send it and not?
I think at the beginning, and I'm gonna say years ago,
Mm-hmm.
it was.
And to add to that, does that help your process by sending it to somebody?
It does because the people that I'm sending it to. But I also realize that I can't just send to anyone because
Right.
they're going to be super opinionated.
Right.
And as a creative, I don't know how you guys work. Some people love when a bunch of people in the studio. I don't want.
don't.
Really, I kind of don't want nobody in there while I'm doing
I
it.
just want me, the producer, and somebody I trust is gonna get me.
That's kinda how
and I
I-
respect the creative process.
That's kind of how I work, honestly. But I think it became, I kind of got away from it when I started just pressing video and record. And then I'm in audio just doing it myself. Like the video I got, I can actually show when I find it. But I didn't really send to those people for validation.
Mm-hmm.
They're just, okay, he must be finna write another song. But I don't think I've ever sent anything I'm working on to anyone that kind of weren't those three people, maybe.
Do they give you input?
When I asked,
Okay.
and I'm like, and usually it's face to face.
Mm.
It's not really with the audio. It's like, hey, I'm working on this. What you think about this? And they like, wow, I like that. Maybe you should talk about, like, the line in this song, the journey is the destination. I was going to say that, but my woman actually was like, it sounded like you on some the journey is the destination type of stuff.
So it was like a reaffirmation.
It was a reaffirmation because I don't necessarily. My son threw a word or two in on this song because he was in the studio.
Okay.
Definitely Trey as well. Like I'm careful with who's in that room with me, and everybody's energy is different. Some people like the club atmosphere in the studio. Some people like the turn up. Some people like to get enhanced with whatever drug, drink they use. And some of us might take a shot and go boom. Some people do heavier things than that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Some people like a bunch of girls. Some people I don't do well with a rah-rah party going on.
See,
so that's an intimate space for me. And I got to make sure I like this verse. That might sound crazy.
It's not.
People say we want people to like it, but people are so fickle. I'm a creator that's like, I think this shit bumping, man. And I play mine every day while I'm working. By the time I let somebody hear it, like my family, mom, and all that, I already think it's dope.
Yeah.
So if you say I don't like this, I'm like, you know what? I respect it, but I think this is dope because I've perfected what I messed up on before I got to you. If that makes any sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Like to me, I'm the same way. I'm like, you know, just being fully transparent. Like I've had when I talk to my therapist about this, and he's like, Mike, you're such a creative, and I'm like, I don't look at myself that way because I'm always perfectionist. And if you hear something that I've written, that means that I have like toyed with it for days, weeks, months, years before over and over again before I even let you even enter in, because it's a sense of vulnerability, right? Like so like if I'm gonna be vulnerable with you, I'm gonna be confident about it at the same time. So
I'm trying to find this video while you're talking. I'm not texting.
So not J-Mac, Wayne, you got anything? Like it is.
No, I was just gonna say, you know, that's artistry though. I mean, all of that stuff. I remember doing that, you know, back when I was a regular bass player. Yeah.
You play bass?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
You're pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, aight.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm all right.
Yeah, aight.
And
Shout out to the bass players, bro. I love the bass.
and yeah, just that
You just
whole.
need to learn that. Doom, doom.
That mystical. Yeah, that's that slow.
You learn that, you good anywhere.
You in there. They're gonna celebrate you wherever
you
you
gotta
are.
hit that first.
Y'all don't know nothing about that.
Hey.
But yeah, just sharing the bass lines or whatever melodies when we used to write songs and stuff. And I used to send them to Darren, we would send stuff back and forth to each other, and it was kind of like he was the lead guitar and singer in the band. And that was usually how we do it. And did it. And then once John got in, he was on the keys and the trumpet or trombone and all that stuff. We would all do that. But no, it's you gotta, once you develop a comfort level with the people that support you in it. And I guess it's different being like a solo singer versus like in a band too.
Yeah, for sure.
Because you can play off of that. And then we can all we would send the stuff to each other to play it on the jam session later. Be like, hey, you remember you sent that thing, man? Let's listen to that real quick.
It was dope.
Yeah,
we gotta add that.
Or just try to do something off of it.
Yeah.
That's all I would do. I would just I would mouth a bass line and then play it for everybody and be like, can y'all play something to this? And then we just make it up as we go. So that was always the cool part, and just playing in a band. Like,
well, I even go farther with you, Wayne, because you just didn't start. You just didn't start it. You started in 2022, but you got the hat on. Are you on this? Are you on this auto? Yeah. Like, even that, like, to me, that's a form of artistry too. Your automotive company,
and it's definitely a creative release.
Yeah. So like, even with that process, like, you want to expound on that, like, you had to get to a point where you felt okay with working on other people's cars and not just yours. So, like, expound on that process, like, because he was talking about how, like, he went to different, he has a trusted circle, whereas yours is not so much. You got a trusted circle, you just kind of gotta tweak the car and then hope that everybody.
Man, it's irrational confidence. That's all it is. Like, I mean, I think for me in that space, because I've basically been doing that type of thing my whole life, like, I literally have like 30 plus years of experience doing things with my hands on cars.
Wow.
So as a 38-year-old dude, so it's kind of like,
I got a transmission leak right now in that old school truck.
Need to holler at him.
That's crazy.
He fixed everything on my car.
So
wow.
So it's kind of like one of them things, like, what you need your 10,000 hours to be a master.
Yes, for sure.
So it's like, that's been long gone for me. Just doing this.
You got a passion for it.
Yeah. So and it comes from that, and then I think for me it's easily transferable over into doing things for other people's stuff. Cause I mean, there was a situation when I ain't gonna say situation, but I was in high school, I think, and this dude, my mom and dad ran the dry cleaners, and my dad passed. My mom ran it by herself. But this dude who was an old customer there for a long time came to my mom and was like, "Yeah, I need this transmission, something changed out in this car. Anybody can fix it." And my mom, being my mom, well, Justin could do it. Like. I'm like, I ain't never done no jack. Like, I ain't worked on nobody's Camry. I ain't never took out no kind of transactional transmission. But because I had done it in other spaces and on other things, I was like, why not? It's still a machine. You can take it. If you can put it together, you can take it apart. That's always my motto. And so I took out this whole dude's transmission, his car, and his front driveway and stuff over like the course of a weekend and put it back. And I told him afterwards, he paid me. It was like, I was like $800 or something like that.
Yeah, you took the transmission.
But I was like in high school. That was like big money. Like, it's really a much bigger job than that. But I was like, yeah, man. It was like, would you believe me if I told you I'd never done this before?
Wow.
So it's kind of like, it's just a mentality.
Yeah,
it's kind of a Mamba mentality.
But I also would say when you're in your true element, people around you will notice it. And then they will like, all right, man, we're gonna throw you to the wolves.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. His mama was like, I know he can do this.
Yeah, like for me, the podcast thing, I mentioned it to Ariel. You know this. I mentioned it to Ariel, but then I kept bouncing it back and forth until one day she was like,
Holland, that's what I call it.
So one day she was just like, here go the mics, here go everything. Go make the podcast. And it's like, I have no more excuses. And, and then it was, I kept recording and not putting anything out until somebody, I don't know if it was Wayne, I don't know if it was Ariel, I don't know who it was just like, all right, we need to, episode 1's coming out on this day. And so
I gotta have people like that.
Yeah.
If I don't,
me too.
I'm gonna
I have to have people that call me and go, excuse my language, you fucking around.
Yeah,
You
bro.
bullshitting.
Yes, bro.
You need to.
And they not playing.
Yeah, and it's
When
like,
they say it.
and they get pissed that
Bro,
you're not
mad.
doing it.
That's
They
how
get
my woman did me. That's why
for
y'all
me-
saw a release 2 years ago.
Yeah, for me, it's my homeboy Lance, because Lance is always like,
Lance.
why are you?
We're lesbian.
Lance, it's a whole nother subject. But Lance has always been like, you know, pun intended, Clark. But he be like, Mike, you keep walking around here like you Klark Kint, but you Superman. And so it's always people like that make me like take me out of my element and say, hey man, get used to being uncomfortable and be vulnerable because you have something here. So I found that very, very, very very dope. So I'm gonna do something different here. So I didn't formally come up with it before you eat, and we didn't have a formal different thought. But I'm gonna tie the two together.
Okay.
So my before you eat is basically country music. I mentioned it earlier. So country music stemmed from the banjo, which was an African instrument, which we created, and it basically grew into where when we were brought over here as slaves. You know, white folks started. Sorry, white folks. I don't want to say it like that. But our owners, our slave masters, basically started doing minstrel shows and where they made fun of us, like blackface, the lips, and they were making fun of us while they did this, and that's why we kind of moved away from it. And you know, so that's my before you eat. But the different thought is this: like something that genuinely started with us, and we grew it, like hip hop. Like country, anything, you know. And now we're seeing this movement of country artists that are black. I'm not going to say black country artists. I'm going to say country artists that are black. How do we protect that? And what I mean by that is when you think about like hip hop started with us. It was created from slavery, if you really think about it. You know, wade in the water, things of that nature, where we use music to tell a message to get us free or whatever it may be. How do we protect that? What do we do to protect that from the industry? What do we do to welcome it more artists that are African American, are black? How do we welcome them in more without alienating them? Because I feel like a lot of the times, because we talked about this on the last time you were here when we talked about Humans Outdoors and saying like saying
This is white people
this
stuff.
is white people stuff. How do we first cultivate, bring more in, make it more welcoming, but then also protect it and make sure that if others do decide to do it, we're not alienating them and we're not getting to a point where it becomes saturated and it's now used as a tool to divide us. Because honestly, I love hip hop, but now it's used as a tool to divide us. I'm just gonna be quite frank. People love beef. If you beefing with somebody, your record sales are gonna go up, and I think that's stupid. I mean, I think when you're talking about artists and hip hop, it should just be everybody should be a fan of everybody. Because hey, Wayne or Justin can do something that I can't in this genre or this form. So I'm going to want to work with that person because he provides something that I can't do. And the voids that I have, he can fill. And I can do the same for him. So how, this is a question to both of y'all and me as well, how do we protect like this next wave of country artists that are coming out? Because you got the Kane Browns and you got other people that are coming out. And I'm gonna speak this into existence, man. I think this record and this journey you're going down, I think this is gonna put you in a different stratosphere. So how do you protect that? How do we protect that? And how do we help people like yourself keep you out of harm's way? You know what I'm saying?
Wow. Thank you for that compliment. I think it has to be, I think you have to go through and you have to grow through life to have tough skin to be here. And I say that respectfully and I say that humbly. I definitely feel that I've gotten my stripes with criticism, being left out, not knowing and finding out, being left out. Even though things look sweet, shit ain't always sweet.
Yeah.
And people can see the publications. They can see you're in the magazine, you've won these things, and people know you. But I said all that to say this. People don't know what you go through behind closed doors to get there all the time. So I think you kind of have to go through and grow through the criticism or the celebrations and the being left out and the mental side of this, the spiritual side of this. I can't speak for anyone else, but I know for me, going through the physical, mental, spiritual transformation that I just recently went through, I know that I belong here. So the protection to me is trusting God for me. We have to trust God for Klark. And we have to trust that when we're not there, Klark is going to be protected, or the young man that's listening to this that might like going hiking and going outdoors or doing things you like to do and you like to do, or he wants to do some eclectic hip hop music, or he wants to do some eclectic R&B, or he wants to sing country. Trust that that's nice and cool. And I don't know if this is the most, I don't know if this is the best thing to say about this, but this is really my heart. I will tell any young man, woman that stay motivated to do that, but understand that shit ain't sweet. You have to understand light and darkness. And
everything that we want is on the other side of hard.
I feel like without having balance,
You got to go through something.
the balance is understanding that there's great days and then there's people that don't like you or enjoy your great days. And then there are some people who do. Yeah. So I think the way we protect it is brothers like you guys.
Creating space.
Brotherhoods that are genuine. Yeah. Sisterhoods that are genuine. Members of churches that are genuine. Because everyone in our church I don't hang with because they have a lifestyle that I might not enjoy. Not that they're worse people than me. I know a bunch. I'm not in a fraternity, but there's a lot of brothers that don't do the same thing.
Yeah, what works for you may not work for me.
So I think the way to protect it is trust God for me, and I believe, as you said, once this hits, and it's probably finna hit any hour now. By the time you guys put this out, I think the tribe of people, there's actually a color country movement that I believe I'm going to be associated to and with. And I honestly don't see white and black with where I'm at right now.
Okay.
I don't.
Okay.
Even though we know these things exist.
Yeah, no. I agree. I can respect it. I can agree with that. Like, I agree with it. There is one part of me that just like the part that makes me rebuttal that is like I feel sometimes society, the industry that is mostly ran by people who don't look like us tries to exploit that and turn it into something very ungenuine and you know, and then tries to capitalize on that and then puts things out there that take us back.
Yes.
So while I do agree, art music should not be. It should be very colorblind. It should be
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah.
However, there are times in which I feel, especially like in hip hop, I'm a hip hop enthusiast. Especially in hip hop, I feel as if people take something very genuine, very innocent, and exploit it to a point to where now I, the black kid coming up, I feel like I have to look like that. I feel like I got to do that.
Yeah.
Instead of, and to add to what you were saying is, instead of saying, hey man, you want to do country music? Do it. Have fun with it. Figure it out. But that don't have to. You don't have to be typecast as just being a country artist.
Yeah.
You don't have to be typecast to being just an R&B artist or a hip hop artist.
Yeah.
You know, you can be an artist.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So, and that's where I'm getting at.
The
It's like,
true word.
I feel like part of how we defend and help that is by accepting and being welcoming to all walks. Like, and understanding, like, you know, a lot of times here, especially during this woke moment that we've been going through here in the last 3 years, is like this whole, like,
I was going to
4
say
years.
that. Yeah.
It's like, oh, black people are not what's the word? Come on, Wayne. You good with word. Monolithic people.
Oh.
We're not a monolithic people.
Oh, you said
Well, let's actually lean into that. Like, let's really understand what that really means. Like, yeah, all black people are monolithic, but that means that all black people don't like hip hop. All black people don't like R&B. Some of us like rock. Some of us like punk rock. Some of us like country. Some of us like, you know, whatever it may be. Some of classical music.
Classical, yeah.
It don't matter, but it's all for the good. And if we're all being welcoming of others, like, I may run into somebody that's into country or funk, and they could help develop me as a rapper. You know what I'm saying? So like, I feel like that's something that we miss.
So you're saying how we as a black people protect
Us.
a person that wants to try new things?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I think we have to.
I might have answered that differently.
Well,
but
not just that.
I
I'm
get
just
it,
saying.
yeah.
I'm just saying in the terms of like country music, from
Yeah.
a country music standpoint, is especially if you're paying attention to the wave right now. Country music is taking into a new, like, black people. It started with Darius Rucker, then came Brown, and now you have, you know, Beyonce, and you have all these different people being drawn to this genre, and I'm all for it, but I just don't want to see what happened to hip hop happen to country music for black people, where they say, now we're gonna put you, because the other part of me also sees this. I see them when they start bringing more blacks in. Oh, we're gonna be hip. We'll put a rap lyric in here, and it's like, that ain't like let's just be true to the music. Like, let's be true to the music. Let's call it what it is and be true with it and accept them for who that is and move on. Wayne, what you got? I see you over here making notes.
That's a lot of conversation right there.
Yeah.
So this ain't new, right?
Yeah,
so
no.
this started, you know, what, Charlie Pride was like the first
Yeah, I was gonna go
mainstream,
back there. Yeah.
you know, black country music singer.
For sure.
And it's since been many that have come in and out. So this isn't new. I think social media makes it seem new. Because the note I wrote down, there's nothing new under the sun.
Right.
Which I think that is the conundrum with hip hop. So hip hop, while it is diverse, it is still very a niche market at the end of the day. Like, there's only so many different variations that you can do within hip hop. So then it gets to a point where I think now what we're seeing is, like, now everybody has to do one up on the next. I got to do better than the last person. And now it's like everything is this big one up game. So it's a mix of artistry with commercialism. So it's like everybody's trying to figure out how to market. We all do that naturally, right? It's like, how do you market something to where I can get more people to pay attention to it so I can make more money?
Mm-hmm.
So now it's just about creating outrage. So like you said, the beef portion of it is like, I'm just trying to create drama just to get people's attention. It ain't got to be nothing good. It could be just trash, but I'm getting people's attention.
Still generate money.
Once I say F somebody,
right,
it's like, oh, he just called out this person.
Right. Don't mean anything.
Yeah.
Don't mean anything to nobody, and they probably ain't even really beefing. So it's just things are being manufactured. So I think that's what we see in hip hop. So I guess what I was kind of noting and thinking as y'all were talking is just, I think country is inherently different than hip hop because there's more of a conservative code and thread within country music. You know, hip hop is rooted in the struggle. It is rooted in, a lot of it is just the stories of the downtrodden, right? Mm-hmm. Whereas country music is rooted more in faith and love in a lot of ways. So because of just what it's derived from, I think it naturally is going to, its chorus is not going to be used. It can't be used as derogatorily as hip hop has turned into.
To the root of it.
To the root of it, yeah. So I think in the future, I mean, I think, there would be people that take advantage of it just from a racial standpoint, because now it's like, well, you can reach a broader demographic just through the artistry now because you got faces that match it. Because that's marketing anyway, right? It's complexion. Mm-hmm. So I think that will be a thing, but I think if the people that are doing the work truly love what they do and stay true to the artistry, which country music, that's the one thing about country music that it does a good job of. It's like, if you ain't it, you out. Like the whole genre revolts against it.
For sure.
I mean, and that's a sign of a good culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, you look at
we talked about that off air.
Yeah, when you look at Lil Nas X, because they did not want to accept it.
Right.
And so it kind of speaks
You
to what you're saying.
You kind of get it ain't necessarily
it wasn't until
immediate thing.
What, Achy Breaky
Billy
Ray
Cyrus, when he finally was like co-signed, they were like, all right, we respect it.
Yeah. So it's kind of like, you know, so the culture within country music, I think, is different than the culture within hip hop, because as we know, our people can be fickle. Mm-hmm. That we can be fickle and we can change our mind on a dime, and things that, you know, because I mean, we look. If me and Mike know, I pay more attention to older hip hop than newer hip hop, for sure. But because I know like what I guess I'll say the gatekeepers of hip hop think about what's happening today. Mm-hmm. If they had their way, none of this new stuff would exist, because it's not truly like the real artistry of what it is. But I feel like country music, you listen to old country music, you listen to new country music, there are common threads within it, even the two, even over that large span of time.
You can pattern them together.
Whereas hip hop now, you listen to old hip hop and you listen to new hip hop, you like, is this the same genre? In some ways, it's like you ain't even telling a story no more. Now it's just about the glorification of materialism, which is another thing that country music really doesn't do that much of, at least from what I hear. Now, I'm not into country music as much, but just what you hear in the mainstream, it's not necessarily about materialistic things. Whereas hip hop now, if you ain't rapping about what you got, you might as well not be rapping. Yeah. So that's what it seems like, at least at face value.
Yeah. And to piggyback that, both of y'all got great points about that. I've been on this journey, I can say, diving in deeply for the past maybe 7 months. So I don't have all the answers on, I guess you could say, country music and the way of it. But what I do know is, like you said, I didn't want to not do it authentically. Yeah. And I wanted to do it justice, and I wanted to make sure.
Because you even talked about like how, hey man, I did my research. I looked at it from the standpoint of like blues and what was the other? I can't remember. Something else you said when we first started these conversations. It was around blues and what was the other genre of music?
Bluegrass.
Yeah. And you were talking about how, you know, it all stems from that, and that stems from us. Yeah. And so you actually like stayed true to it. You just didn't say, "Oh, I'm gonna go make a country record," and all it really was a country beat, but you just being an R&B artist singing over a country beat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because
Like,
they're gonna mesh it, like he just said, for business.
right.
They're gonna do. I think if you want to go back, and I could be wrong. I'm sure we have some people, and I've been around the group lately that I've finding out it's a lot of black country artists I didn't know about. But we can go back to Darius and all of that, and we went back to our brother. But for sure, industry, they got a thing called it's like ghetto cowboy music. And I believe
You better count.
Yellow Wolf
You better count your. Do
being
anybody remember
around. I remember.
Bone Thugs and Harmony
Oh,
when they
okay,
came out with
yeah,
it with
yeah.
what's
I remember
you gotta
that.
know
Yeah,
when to
yeah,
hold. Who
yeah.
sings that? Know when to fold.
That's Kenny
Yeah.
Loggins.
So they did a song with Kenny and it was like
Yeah.
you better count. When
Yeah.
you said ghetto cowboy, that's what made me think of that.
Well,
You
and it's a
better
movement
count
now.
your-
Ghetto. They call it hood-billy music.
Yeah.
And that's big now. And then being around the group I was in, and being around Yellow Wolf, which is around Jelly Roll, I was kind of around it anyway.
Yeah.
But I definitely tapped in here this past 7 months into the more authentic. I've been authentically just, I guess you could say, blown away with some blues, but I'm kind of more Glenn Campbell country. I'm kind of more Alan Jackson. Like you just mentioned, the Garth, the Timbs, and all that stuff. But I kind of been tapping into that.
You definitely are like you. It's definitely traditional.
Yeah,
Like,
and I like
it. Ain't
that.
no offense to the Hive. It ain't this. I haven't heard the rest of her project yet, but it ain't like Texas Hold'em. It's
Oh, okay. You see my Beyonce.
yeah. It ain't that. You are like you even got the twang down. Like
Wow.
it's very different. It's not, pun intended. It is not. Oh, here's an R&B artist trying to do country. No. I'm a country artist who happens to be also can do R&B, who happens also can do hip hop. But this is me giving my full pledge attempt of country
And it's tricky
because it is
coming where I come from.
Yeah.
And I can honestly tell y'all, I'm not really worried about the people that's going to come in and say he can't do, even the way I look all the way down to this Tennessee belt buckle.
Yeah.
He can't do that because he's this. I don't want to respond to that because we know there were black cowboys. We know there were black.
The phrase cowboy came from
so
another before you eat.
Yeah, I'm not.
The phrase cowboy came from.
Yeah, I'm not here to prove that
we
to
were the
those
original
people.
cowboys. Yeah.
But I believe some of my Caucasian brothers and sisters, I think we were in that same era where we shared music tastes. Now, the things that were stolen, the things that were taken, we definitely know things were taken and stolen in our history with a lot of people. But like you said, I know for a fact that I've been doing the research myself to where I don't even see myself. I'm definitely down to collab with some, to do some hooks, some kind of country rap stuff. I don't see myself. I kind of feel like K Michelle. I've been following K Michelle here lately. I honestly don't see myself really. I don't want to manifest this, but I haven't seen myself really doing too much R&B music, no time soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's at the end of the day,
I love it here.
it's a style. It's a style, and
is.
it's what feels comfortable.
It feels so.
I mean, that's
comfortable.
but that's what art is you find your pocket,
Well,
you fit in your pocket, and you maximize the pocket, and then great artists find another pocket to reinvent themselves, and then go to that part.
while staying authentic.
While staying authentic.
I wouldn't. I guess.
In my opinion.
Yeah. No. I guess I look at authenticity. It really is you just going in the path of least resistance for your own sensibility. It's like you started a place of R&B and hip hop and stuff, but which are all forms of singing.
Yes.
So that's the artistry as a form of singing. Now you're going into a style
Yeah.
that actually fits your own sensibility and what you actually like,
For sure.
regardless of what people think you should
For
be
sure.
doing. So that's kind of the way I look at it. Is like you just kind of you find in your lane, you find in the groove. At the end of the day. So I think like that to me is like country, and that's why I think when it comes to artistry, you can't put a complexion with it.
Yeah.
It's just like either you feel it or you don't.
Yeah. I mean, and,
And that's what I'm getting told.
we talked about when we met with you at the studio at the Wavelength. Shout out to Wavelength again. We talked about this. If like I told you, like the reason I felt like, oh yeah, you got some here is because I didn't feel like you were trying to fit somewhere.
Yeah.
It's like, hey man, I'm just doing me.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do that, like I remember it was in my notes and we didn't get there yet, but when I was watching Genius with Kanye, I'm a Kanye stan. Everybody knows this. Okay, let's move over.
I didn't know that.
Yes, I'm a
Okay.
Kanye stan through and through.
Just,
But there was a
Those conversations are always fun.
yes, but
Yeah,
when
they're
you
not.
talk when you watch Genius and when he was sitting there talking to Pharrell, and when Pharrell realized, oh, this dude's serious,
Yeah.
and when he said
He's different.
and then he said, hey man, keep that conduit between your creativity and your artistry, keep that always open, and whatever you got to do to make sure that conduit stays open,
Yeah.
do it. And that's how I look at it. Like and when I listen to Out of Nowhere,
yeah.
I was like, that's what you did. Because when you talked about, hey, I was just sitting in the car, I just was trying something different, and it grew into this. It's like,
Yes.
oh, okay, keeping the conduit of like your authentic, where you at right now. Because I mean, let's be real, like, and there's nothing wrong with this. 5 years from now, you may be back at doing R&B,
Yeah. And
and there's nothing wrong with it.
I'm not opposed.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's
Yeah.
just, hey, to me that is when, like, when you think about like when Andre 3000 made the comment of like, what am I gonna talk about now? Because he's talking about his conduit. He's talking about like, hey man,
Where he is.
this is where I'm at right
Yeah.
now. Playing this little flute right now is where I'm at. That's
I
it.
feel that way about
this is where I'm at. Respect it
right now.
And if you look, people always tend to go with that. It's crazy. He had the top selling rap album because they were trying to, he's Andre 3000. They were throwing him in it, but this was not a rap album. But it outsold all the other albums out there.
Yeah, man.
Because, hey man, this is where I'm at right now, and people were like, Andre, we know you. We know you can be left field at times, but we still gonna rock with you. So any other parting shots before I said my before you eat was tied into the different thought, but I do have a little added bonus to the before you eat. But anything else before I get into that before we close out?
Shoot, I was just going to add to it, along with sensibility too. And this ain't necessarily about Klark, but just the musical style also is tied to capability. Because like as a musician, sometimes it's like
I can't do that.
You pull up as a to play a gig or something, and they need a funk player, and you only know how to play soul or R&B or gospel or country.
Yeah.
Look, I wrote it down too. I was like, man, country music, the clap is on the 1 and the 3.
Yeah, it's different.
Funk is
Soul
on
and
the-
R&B and everything
don't
else
hit
is
like
on
an
the
808.
it's on the 2 and the 4.
Oh,
None
yeah.
of that. Yeah.
So
Down.
if you play country music and you try to step into a funk soul R&B realm, you're gonna lose.
Yeah.
But that's what you're comfortable with, like, because this I have tried my hardest to clap on the 1.
Yeah.
And I cannot do it.
Yeah.
It's hard for me.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't. It's like a tension is weird in my shoulders.
Yeah.
And so it's like, but that's what I mean, like your sensibility and your capability and how all that
that's
flows,
big.
how that flows
That's it.
together. Because it's like it's just something that I guess is inherent in us when we grow up and what we learn. But
For sure.
it's just like, shoot, man, if it don't feel right, don't do it.
Before I will maybe want to bring this out if I didn't feel comfortable doing it, but I have a core, and I said to myself, probably like you mentioned, Andre 3000, which was a great example of what I've seen him talk about. I feel like this is jamming. Whether
No.
other people like it, I feel you said it off record. I feel so challenged to learn that I could. I think this is the most singing I've done
Yeah,
since
said
I've
that.
done music.
I said like you were talking,
And that's in the season.
Yeah,
People
you-
have no idea what I'm finna do after this.
You were saying like, oh yeah, this is I feel the most comfortable. And I was like, Clark, I feel just to give people reference what you just mentioned.
Yeah.
I said, Clark, knowing you for as long as I've known you,
Yeah.
I just think you like the challenge. Everything about you has always been.
It is, man.
When you did Human Outdoors, it was
Yeah,
like,
for
well,
sure.
black people don't go outside, and you were like, all right, I'm finna show you how we go outside and we can still have fun.
And I smirked in that
Yeah,
trailer.
you know what
and
I'm
I
saying?
didn't catch. I was like, watch me do this.
Yeah,
shit.
watch me do it. So
Yeah.
I think that's authentically you too. It's just like,
Yeah.
hey man, you know what? Somebody told me I can't. I'm gonna try it.
Yeah.
That's my next venture.
Yeah.
So with that said, before you eat, we talked about the banjo, but I also want to talk about, y'all mentioned Charlie Pride, and he was an American singer, guitarist, and professional baseball player. I didn't know that Charlie Pride was a professional baseball player. His greatest musical success came in the early mid 1970s when he was the best selling performer for RCA Records. During the peak years, he recorded his recording career. He had 52 top 10 hits on the Billboard Hot Country Song charts, 30 of which made it to number one. He won the Entertainer of the Year award for the Country Music Association Awards in 1971, and was awarded a Grammy for Best Country Vocal Performer Male in 1972. So as we always tell y'all, go out there, research the banjo, research country music, research our brother Charlie Pride, and learn something.
Mm-hmm.
And then also, as I always tell y'all, think, do, be different. Thank you for listening to Different Thought Podcast.